Sometimes I'll be playing Roblox and I'll play a game that reminds me of another old one, like Jailbreak and Prison Life. This originally gave me the idea for this video. Roblox has been changing through every era, and of course every new one will have its own popular games. Today, we're going to look through some of the most famous games to see how they've ended up and if people still play them. Before we get into the video, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing and liking the video. With that said, let's get into it. Prison Life is the original Jailbreak, coming out in 2014 while Jailbreak came out in 2017. They're pretty similar games, but it definitely feels rough to play if you compare it to Jailbreak. The game was last updated 9 months ago, and in total has 2.4 billion visits, which is wild. Considering it came out in 2014 though, I guess I can't be that surprised. But the most shocking thing to me is that Prison Life has 1,000 players, which I cannot believe. I just find it crazy to see that this is the original Jailbreak that doesn't get updates, but it's so loved that it manages to get 1,000 players after no updates in 9 months. So congratulations to Prison Life. Mining Simulator is another game from 2018, and I got some people asking how it's doing currently. I had high hopes for this game since in 2018 it won 4 awards, but looking at the active players, it was sad to see. With it having 823 million visits, it currently only has 218 players online, which is nothing close to what it once had. All of this makes sense though, because the last update for the game was 2 years ago. So honestly, having 200 players on a simple game that gets no more development is pretty good. The last controversial thing I have to say about this game is that honestly, I'm really surprised people even play and care about this game, since I fear it's kind of boring. Arsenal is one of the oldest Roblox games that I could think of that is very popular. This game was created in 2015 and I feel like it'll never go away. It has a good 5.6 billion visits, which is the most discussed so far, and was last updated 4 days ago. With all that said, I think it comes to no surprise that it currently has 5k players and will probably remain one of the best FPS games on Roblox. Even though it's doing pretty good, the glory days it once had though is over, but I do not think it's irrelevant. With the game once reaching 40k, nowadays 5k, it's sad to see, but I don't think it's going anywhere. Piggy is a really interesting game to me, not because I think it's good, but actually the opposite. I have no idea why so much people play it, since it has 13.1 billion visits and was created in 2020. The game is as live as ever, as it was being updated 1 minute ago. The current amount of players it has is 11k, which is around where it's been since 2023. Of course, when there's major updates, it'll get more players, but honestly, Piggy's doing pretty good for a Peppa Pig granny Robloxified thing. Bee Swarm Sim is a grinding game that's loved by the people. Although the visits aren't as much as Piggy, with it being 3 billion and created in 2018, 2 years before Piggy, it still has 6k more players on it and was updated as recently as 2 weeks ago. It's pretty solid and the community behind it is very committed to the game, unlike other games here. So even though it only came out in 2018, it only recently hit its peak of 100k players in July of this year. So if you're a big fan of this game, its community is live as ever, and I would be very excited for you. Lucky Block Battleground really gives me nostalgia of watching popular MMOs doing the Minecraft Lucky Block challenge things. This game has 1.5 billion visits and was created in 2017. It's a pretty simple game where you just kind of open the lucky blocks and get weapons and then start fighting, but the gambling part makes it very active since it has around 2,000 players on it. Really surprising to me though is that this game is still updated, with it most recently being updated 19 hours ago. Build a boat to me is like the epitome of Roblox. In this game, you can build anything you can put your mind to, and I really mean anything. I've seen people make mechs or like cars, and it's really possible, so just do whatever you could think of. This game was created in 2016 and has the most players of all the games talked about so far. It has 4.1 billion total visits and 21,000 players on it right now. Even though the last update was 8 months ago, I feel like no matter what happens to this game, it will always survive since there's nothing really like it. The all-time peak for this game was around 40k, so having 20k 2 years later is pretty amazing. Make a cake and feed the giant noob is 100% the weirdest game here. You basically make yourself into a cake and go into a noob's mouth to be digested. Even though it's so weird, it was able to get 73 million visits and it came out in 2010. Even more impressive is that this game has almost 200 players, which is impressive to me because you can finish the game in probably a minute, and there's not really much to do. Survive the Disasters was one of the oldest games I remember playing when I went to my cousin's house, and it was last updated 4 months ago. It has 222 million visits and came out in 2009, making it one of the original Roblox games. Sadly though, it's kind of dead, with natural disaster basically killing it. Currently, the game has 30 players, so it's sad to see what happened to this game. Phantom Forces is the game I used to see COD or shooter YouTubers play when they tried Roblox. And honestly, this game is doing pretty solid. It has 1.6 billion visits and was created in 2015. The updates has also not slowed down, with it having one 2 days ago, and the active players is around 4.5 thousand. Even though it's not as crazy as it used to be, it's still a good amount to have, and it'll probably always rival Arsenal in my head. Sword Fighting Tournament was another game created in 2009 and has 47 million visits. Sadly, this game was probably the worst fate for a Roblox game because it has 0 players. It's sad because it was once loved and even had an update a year ago, but I do not think there's a way for it to come back to life. Super Bomb Survival is a game that I only learned about earlier this year, so I was really surprised to see it came out in 2014. This game is pretty well polished and the community it has is pretty stable. It's nowhere as popular as it used to be, with it having 200 million visits and only currently 300 active players. I would still play it though because the quality of the game hasn't went down at all and it's only gotten better over time. Base Wars is another FPS game that was created in 2009 and is still being updated consistently. It has 79 million visits, but how outdated it is really shows. The game now only has around 49 players, which isn't the worst we've seen, but I don't think it'll ever reach where it was once again. Assassin is a game I feel like I've played before in Minecraft. In simple terms, you're given someone you have to kill, and if you do, you'll get another target until you're the last person left. This game was created in 2016 and was really played, with it having 776 million visits. Sadly though, this game did not hold up in the current day and only has around 30 players, and so it's kind of dead, I fear. With all these games listed, it's sad to see the beloved ones gone, and even one with 0 players. Each of these games were popular for their era, so seeing what they were reduced to is just kind of sad. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing, and I'll see you next time. Bye!